Recording. What's up, guys? Anybody out there? Happy Sunday. Sorry, we are a couple minutes behind in this one, but I'm gonna let y'all give it a minute to filter in. Happy Sunday, week 5, I believe, of quarantine life. Let me straighten this out a little bit. How you guys doing out there? How you guys doing? Everybody safe and healthy? Social distancing. Ooh, what's up, Chad? I know, man. I miss Complex too. This is like the best part of my week when I get to come here for an hour and do the pod. How you guys doing? Oh yeah, let me pin this so you guys know what's going on here. Posting and pinning. Bam! Oh, what up, Tim? I miss you, man. All right, guys. Well, welcome to another Kinjaz podcast live. Thanks for joining me. We are doing these. We're gonna indefinitely do these every week as we've been doing it. The world is a different place, and we get news every single day of what we are allowed to do. But for now, we're doing it this way. As always, plug in your questions for my amazing guests every week. They are going to be joining as a surprise, so you need to tune in onto the live to make sure you find out who it is. But plug in your questions here throughout this conversation, and Charlie Guy, who is virtually going to be taking questions, is going to be sending them in. And at the end, we will be doing a Q&A with the questions that came in through here. So continue to plug in. I'm not going to be able to answer them in real time, obviously, because I'm going to be talking to my guests. But we will answer them, or as many as we can, at the very end. So without further ado, let's get into it. Surprise guest time. He is a world-renowned dancer, choreographer, teacher, actor, creative director, singer, philanthropist, and young entrepreneur. You may recognize his work from NBC's World of Dance Season 2, and most recently on the Justin Bieber Changes the Movement visual album. Has a ton of viral dance videos all over YouTube, and he's only 18 years old. Let's see if he's in here. Wow, there's a lot of people trying to get into this pod. You guys trying to be guests? Who else is trying to be up in here? Let's see. Do I see you? There are a lot of people. Hold on. There are way too many people. Oh, there he is. Suspense is killing everybody. And boom!
Whoa!
John Liu
Oh
is
my God.
in the pod.
What?
Again. What's up, Sean?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, bro?
I'm, just hanging in there. How are you?
You're quarantined up, as I can see. And
Yep.
yeah, man. Thank you for joining the pod today, man. You know, it's
Dude.
funny. So I was looking back to, this is the second time you're on the pod. The
Yes.
first time you were on was almost exactly a year ago. It was April 10th of
What?
last.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary on the pod, right?
Right.
So this is a great time to do a 1-year checkpoint, man. I mean, obviously we'll get to all the stuff that's going on now and what you're doing with this time of quarantine, but yeah, man, how has a year of Sean's life been, man? You're doing a lot. You're everywhere, and congrats on an amazing year. But
Thank you.
yeah, how has 2019 been since the last time you were on the pod?
It's been wild. I mean, I say that like in the most like grateful way possible, because I think like towards the end of 2019, so many things happened unexpectedly, and it was kind of like keeping up with everything that's happening. But I was going through so many different obstacles in a way where I was trying to get my film done, and trying to get that done before the end of the year, which thankfully I did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to continue with it. And it's been a really cool learning process, because I think towards the end of 2019, I tried to contain everything in a way where I was almost processing everything that I did throughout the entire year, because I almost wanted to have a new restart into this year, in a way where it was like I want to expand more into being with more people and surrounding myself with more people and opening myself up to different styles. So that way, towards the end of 2019, I was like, I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to finish everything that I can possibly do, that I have like my goals set to. So that way, once I reach into the next year, I don't have to worry about that, and I can go straight into, things that I've never done before without having to worry about things that I wanted to do before. So yeah, 2019 has been really great. I mean, I would say probably better than this year, I think.
You mentioned you said finish a film. I mean, that you can't just breeze by a word like that and act like that's like not a thing. Can you talk about what
Yeah.
are, I don't know. I mean, are you allowed to talk
Yeah,
about it?
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I've mentioned it a while back ago. I actually started a GoFundMe, and um, basically it's kind of like a short film, and I think it's the fourth year that I've been like continuously working on it, and it's really just a passion project of mine that I like started filming in February of 2019, and uh, I did it because it was a continuation of the first ever concept video that I ever created, and it was supposed to continue from that. And it's the storyline of like what I feel like defines life to me. And I've been once every month I would try to push out a new scene of the film.
Yeah.
And and one of the biggest reasons why I decided to do it and like kind of sparked it was because I wanted to, like I said, continue on like almost a sequel of the first concept video I ever made. And then as I was creating the second version or the second video, I was like, this is taking up a lot of time, a lot of money. And I was like, why can't I just use this time and the money to make it into something that's bigger than what it usually is? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a whole freaking like short film, and that's what happened. And then that's when I announced it of this GoFundMe. And the reason why I wanted to do that was because it wasn't necessarily to reach like a certain goal where I was like, we have to get to this amount of money, but it was because I wanted people to be aware and also to people to be involved. And I needed that motivation of people kind of giving me that feedback of like, I want to be a part of this. And I think that's kind of what motivated me into finishing the actual film. So yeah, it's definitely a passion project, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm kind of excited to see where it goes.
So the film is finished, but it's not out yet, I'm assuming.
Yes and no. Like we finished shooting it, but I've been taking this time to edit it.
Gotcha.
So
You do this all by yourself?
yeah. So I'm on my like this is like my setup. Like I'm on my desk every single day
Yeah.
from like morning to night to edit this thing, and it's like it's tough, but it's also really nice because I'm watching back at the first scene and like I'm like, wow, I look like a baby, and it's like weird because you can kind of see the evolution of it. But yeah, this whole quarantine thing has been really nice to give me some time to edit it. Yeah.
Amazing, man.
Thanks.
Congratulations. That's not a small feat by any means, bro. And for all the people that have supported you through your GoFundMe, man, that's amazing. That's just a testament of the work that you put out. It reaches people, and people are wanting to be a part of whatever you're trying to put out, man. Creatively, it's awesome.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
So January of this year, you put out a video. it was in efforts to end poverty, right?
Mm,
No poverty.
yeah.
Can you talk about what was the inspiration? Well, I mean, obviously what your efforts are clear, but how did that kind of come about, and you partnering up with Live Nation and all that?
Well, it was a while back ago, but um, an artist from AJR Brothers, I choreographed a song to or I choreographed a piece to one of their songs, and one of the the artist from that band hit me up and was like, I'm doing this project where, we're promoting the awareness of poverty and how we can get rid of it. And I was like, say no more. This is the type of things that I love to do in a way where I can take advantage of, my voice and use it for something that would help the world. And so he was like, it can just be a small video of you dancing to it, or you dancing to like a song or something like that. And it was supposed to, like come out like I'm gonna say like 8 months before it actually came out. Where it was just like, you could just do this. And I was like, honestly, if we're gonna promote this message, it has to be like, for me, it has to be taken seriously. And that's when, I spent like a few months kind of writing a story that would make sense in a way that didn't sound, especially when it's a very sensitive message. You want to be careful with how you're approaching it, because sometimes when you approach such a strong message, it can come off either cheesy or it can come off offensive. And I think for me, it's like, it's very important that the message comes off authentic in a way. So that way people are actually looking at it seriously and being like, oh, I can actually do something about it, or, I will be aware of this. So yeah, like I said, I spent a few months on kind of building a story, went back and forth with their team. And then at that point, I messaged Gerald and Chad, and I we kind of I kind of just booked a place that was like really far from my house, and then got a few things from Amazon, and then kind of just like pieced it together, and then I like wrote this whole rundown for them to kind of know what was going on. And I think, I don't know, it was a really cool project to work on, because I felt like looking back at it, when whenever you're looking back at certain videos like that, you kind of forget about like, oh, how did I look in dancing and all this stuff, and you remember like, oh, the feeling of how that person reacted in that video when I gave him, you know, food and water, and you kind of realize that those are the things that you really remember as you're creating videos like that, especially certain messages like that. And I just felt so fulfilled in a way where I was like, I can't really necessarily replicate this feeling, because it's a really, you kind of just like never want it to end in a way. So I don't know. I did that kind of for me in a way where I just wanted to experience something that wasn't just about me, um, and also hopefully inspire other people to be aware of it and maybe do something about it too.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, I looked at the video in the description, written that every full view of the video automatically $1 gets donated to an organization. Is
Mhm.
that right? Can you talk a little bit?
Yeah, when they sent me all that information about like we can end poverty by this time, and how many people are suffering from it and everything, I was like, what? I was like, I wasn't even aware of that, and I was like, that's like crazy. And so the fact that if you can catch people's attentions by, creating a dance piece, like, why not do it? Like, why not take advantage of that and catch people's attention from that? So yeah, my mind was pretty blown when they shared me all that information. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. I mean, not to say that art by itself isn't powerful, but it's great that there's actual efforts where, I mean, to be totally frank about it, resources are needed, funds are needed in order for things to actually move and change. And so it's great that like not only did you pair your artistry um, a good cause, but the cause actually is like boots to the ground are actually making things move. So that's really cool that you're involved in such a impactful project, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Um, and so, I mean, yeah, like the year, it's like you say, projects that are worked on for months and months and months, and then they get released at some later date where you almost kind of forget that you worked on that project.
Right.
You also came into this year a couple weeks ago, or maybe about a week ago. You dropped the Justin Bieber, was it At Least for Now
Yeah.
video came out. You're up in the mountains in the snow, strapped to a log, but I understand there was some complications on the day of the shoot to even like get to your location and all that. Can you talk about that whole Justin Bieber experience?
Well, when you bring it up like that, yeah, no, that shoot was so fun. I as we were going up the ski lift, and like kind of like breathing in the air of the snow, and I was like, oh, this is really nice. But also, I just came back from my birthday when I was in Iceland. So I was just like, oh, this is bringing back memories. And when I left, I was like, I never want to see snow ever again. But yeah, I, you know, being me, when we were creating the video, I sent Nick Nick, the director, I sent him like 4 or 5 different concepts, and he was like, he got back to me, and he was like, Sean, these are all unrealistic. I was like, no, no, no. But if you like do this, or if you get this, or I can paint this, or I can buy all the supplies. And he was like, but we can't bring it up. And I was like, no, 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 I can, And then one day, he was working on all the other videos, so I just drove up to one of his shoots, and I was like talking to his team, and I was like, I spent like a few hours just thinking in my head. I was like, okay, what's something that's realistic, um, and what's something that's realistic but still unique in a way. And that's when I was like, okay, what if, you know, I was I was tied up against, after them showing me the location, I was like, what if I was tied up to the log, and rather than me trying to reach for like a flower or something that's, generic or, common that people would expect, what if it was just like something unexpected where it wasn't anything that was emotionally connected to someone, but it was just a second chance, like it was scissors. And then Nick's team was like, oh, that is pretty interesting. And so we got there, and when I showed them a demo, it was like really stretchy fabric. So I was able to do all these dancing moves and all this floor work. And when I got there, they got actual ropes. So I was like, oh no, I can't move. And each rope had like, it was supposed to be my wrist, my elbow, my knees, and my ankles. And each rope had 5 strings, like thin strings attached to it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That was 40 strings attached to me, and I was getting tangled in the first. I
Yeah.
couldn't move at all.
Uh,
And so we had to like strip it down. Me and Nick looked at each other, and we were just like, nope, not gonna work. So we like cut it off, cut all that, and it was just wrists. And towards the shoots, I was like doing all this groundwork, and I kept like getting stuck. But how to explain it? They used fake snow in the beginning, and it was made out of potato starch. And so the snow mixed with the potato starch created this glue, and I got stuck all over it. And I was like, oh, this is yummy. I was like, wow. And it was like literally just like built up all over my shoes and stuff like that. I had a Vapor Max, so like they were in the crevices.
uh-huh.
Um, but then after that, I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'll just use real snow, and let's just like do all that stuff. So then I ended up getting like frostbite, and luckily my mom has like the warmest hands of God. And so every time we finished shooting, my mom would run up to me. She'd be like, give me your hands, give me your hands. And so like I literally just put my mom, like my arm in my mom's sleeve, and I literally just be like this. And then when they're like, all right, another shoot, I was like, okay. And then she runs off, and then we're like doing another shot. And I remember like towards the end of it, my whole like body was shaking, but I was so happy because I was like emotionally, I was so connected to it that I kind of forgot that like we basically pretty much winged it. towards the end because everything was just so like up in the air, especially with the conditions that we had. And then a drone crashed in the middle of the shoot, so we had to keep improvising. And personally, for me, I was so honored to be a part of, that whole series in the community because I was like, you want me? And as I was creating, I was like, I honestly just want to give out something that represents who I am as a dancer and as a creator. And sometimes you get in your head and you're just like, wow, but there's these people, there's this people, and then you start to realize you're like, but it doesn't matter because you hold something that they don't, and you kind of want to embrace that. And I was like, it may not be the greatest dance piece ever, but it doesn't have to be, as long as you're giving what the song needs. And for me, I was like, that was just, and the song was acoustic, like it was like acoustic, no beats, and I was like, it really just needs like a rawness to it. And that's when that whole purpose of trying to reach for the scissors in the end with the ropes kind of just came in hand, and I was like, that works out for me.
I love this because even for myself, I mean, I can imagine the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but then things like frostbite and and potato starch mixed with dough turning into glue, like,
You just don't expect it.
no one's gonna know any of that stuff,
right?
And I think that's what's awesome, man. I mean, for whoever is out there who like may not know like the level of sacrifice, you're literally putting your body and your health on the line to create art, man. And but it's incredible, man. And I love how you are able to kind of like weather that storm because of what you said, like the way that you're connecting to to the song, to the piece, to the intention behind it, and then all of that makes it all worth it, and like you don't remember, you're not thinking about the frostbite and all that. You're
right.
Thinking,
Honestly, I didn't even think about it until like we finished shooting. So like, obviously I was thinking about like my mom's hands and I was like, oh, so warm. But as we were shooting, it didn't really come across. Like my hands were like kind of like reddish, purplish, but but I just looked at it and I was just like, all right, let's do it again. And then towards the end, when they're like, that's a wrap, I was walking, I was like, and I was like, whoa, yeah. It was.
I'm sure like it was just adrenaline just kind of carrying
right.
you because you knew it's one of those like we have to do this. There's not
exactly.
Yeah,
right.
that's amazing.
Yeah. But the whole team just made it such a great experience. Like working with Nick and all of it. He's been like a mentor of mine, so like it was really, really nice to kind of just work from that side of the the industry almost, and kind of just collaborating with him in a way. So it was super fun.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. That's an incredible video. So moving into now, the world as it is now, and I'm sure when the news of the pandemic kind of started to surface, and then it became much more of a real thing when there was official lockdowns and stuff here. What was kind of going on in your world, as far as what you were planning to do, things that you were working on when the pandemic hit and the lockdowns happened, and like what was going on at that time? Give us a little snapshot of like when it all kind of.
I made when the year started, obviously every person was like, yo, new decade, new beginning, new restart, this is about to go down, you're never going to see me coming. And then you really don't see them coming.
For 2020.
Yeah, he's right. Oh my God. Someone was like, who pissed off 2020? I was like, I want to talk to him. I was like, me too. And for me, when the year started, my motive was to be with as many people as possible. And what that means is like, I wanted to open my horizons in a way where I can learn new styles, or even just not necessarily dance with a person, but just talk to them, And I found myself meeting with a lot of old friends um, now and then, and also dancing with new friends, and learning like how they approach dancing and how they approach life. And it's been super nice because it's been just this really new restart. Like I would drive just an hour and a half just to have lunch with someone, and I don't mind doing that because I feel like I benefit from that more than even taking a class. A lot of the times people are like, you're not taking class, or you're not doing this, or you're not doing this. And for me, I'm like, the thing is that if it's not going to benefit me and I could be doing something else, then, you know, I'm doing this for myself. Like I'm doing this in a way where this is fulfilling me in a way that is worth it and worth my time. And that if that means just talking to someone rather than taking like 3 classes in a row back to back, then that's what I'm going to do, because I start to build more awareness of what they do when they're tired, or what do they do when they're resting, or what do they do when they're training, and I can keep that in mind and keep that in my pocket whenever I feel like I'm lost in a way. And I'd be like, I remember my friend telling me that they sometimes just don't dance at all, and they just listen to jazz music, and it soothes them. Whoa, soothes. It
Yeah,
calms
there
them.
it is. There it is.
Yeah,
I got you.
it calms them,
Yeah.
and it makes them feel more relaxed. And then when I go back and dancing, maybe that little session of listening to jazz music can help me, keep in tune with like grooves and that like small rhythm, and that's all from just listening to jazz music in that one session. So yeah, before this whole thing happened, I was like, I'm going to be with more people, even if it is with the same people, and just not. I kind of gave myself like a small quarantine um, for the past few years, in a way where I was like, I don't need to be with people, and
Mm.
not a way where it's like I don't need like I don't need to be with them, but it was just more like I'm at home, I could just dance in my garage, and all this. But then I'm like, that's not enough. It's and it also wasn't something that gave me longevity. I was like, I'm not. I'm going in the garage and I'm like,
Mm.
and I don't
Yeah.
want to feel like that. I want to feel inspired and go into the garage and be like, yo, I'm getting this like jitter situation, and then it's about to go down.
Yeah.
No one's gonna know that I'm doing this, but it doesn't matter because this is gonna make me feel great. I finished my rounds and I go back in the house. I'm like, whoa, that felt great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I I'm really glad that I pushed myself into being with more people in the beginning of the year, and then this kind of lockdown kind of screwed it up. But it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you bring up a lot of really good points. I mean, that's you kind of like learning yourself. I mean, I think people get creative in their own unique ways. Some people need to be around other people to like feed off of their energy and vibe and exchange. And then others need to be the exact opposite. They need to be alone in their own, space to, not be bothered and to not have distraction. And that's
Yeah,
where he comes out
it's
and
about having that balance. I think that's what I struggled with. You
yeah,
know, yeah, it's really about having that balance of like you do need alone time. You do need that time to process everything that you've been doing, and kind of understand who you are. But at the same time, you can't isolate yourself from everyone, because then you're missing out on all the knowledge that everyone else carries.
yeah,
And when you start to isolate yourself too much, you're almost starting to build this ego, and you
mm,
almost start to build this sense of um like what you have I don't need. But you never know. You know what I mean? You never know. So for me, I'm like, maybe I do need to know. I'm not going to be a crumper, but I could dance with Yaya, and I could learn a few things. And just like this like her jab of like years of that, like I don't necessarily need to know how to jab for when I'm dancing, but if I'm going to do a certain move, maybe that technique could help me in that way. Like it's just those little things, like little things to have in your back pocket where you're not only building your technique, but you're building relationships. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's so important, especially at a time like this. Like it's starting to make me super aware of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really just having that balance.
Yeah, you bring up a great point again. Like to train with other people or to be inspired by styles that may not necessarily be your like cup of tea. Yeah, like you said with crump, it's not that you are trying to be a crumper, but there are techniques, both physical and mental, and things that you can take and use that to further develop your personal vocabulary and give you a better understanding of now if you want to articulate movement or a thought process in some type of way, now you've been able to be exposed to something else so you can kind of like add that to your arsenal. So now during these times, I mean, it's already we're like 5 weeks in.
Man,
What been
it's
kind of
felt like years.
yeah, right. It's been the longest month ever. But like, what have you been doing? How have you been using this time of quarantine? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of editing happening.
My guy, just
There, yeah,
I'm in this seat, like like I think I fell asleep on this desk twice in this quarantine. Like I've actually like edited. I was just like I'm gonna take a quick nap,
yeah.
and then as I'm like, it's like, I mean, it's not the most comfortable thing ever, but like I wake up probably around like 6 or 7. I'm just like feeling like I just woke up in an airplane, and
Oh, you
then
just crashed the whole night on your
I
on
just
the
crashed
desk?
the whole night. Yeah, and
Hey,
yeah, I mean, it's not the healthiest thing, but I've been during this quarantine. I think it was like a real wake up call for me to like really get onto this film, and also start to look into like other ways to utilize dance.
hmm,
I think that me being like in here has been really helpful for me to kind of just be like, okay, now what's something that I can do that will keep me creative in a way that, you know, because for me, I'm like, everyone's training, everyone's exercising and all this stuff and at home workouts, and I'm like, nice. And for me, I'm like, I don't need to do home workouts, but and for me, I'm like, I've already been dancing in my garage even before this, so I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And at that point, when I can't really feed off of what's going on social media and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, now I have to get creative. What am I supposed to do? Who should I call? And I've been talking to a lot of my friends that, like, I don't talk to as much. I mean, except Casey, but I like I we FaceTime and we're talking, and I'm like, hey, do you want to dance? And they're like, what the heck? And I'm like, yeah, like let's do something, even if it feels stupid. At least it's something, you know, and there's that, and also just a lot of cooking, um, and yeah, and my whole family's here, so we've been making a small tradition where we play cards at night, and I kind of get a little salty where I get really mad whenever I lose, but it's fine. It's fine. Um, and yeah, I think I've been really using this time to kind of expand more on things that I've kind of been doing when this didn't start. Either if it's been singing or it's been doing more research on plays and acting, um, and really just editing, just a lot of editing.
That's cool, man. I mean, I think even from what I'm getting from you is that quarantine, as it is right now, isn't really like making a drastic change on your life.
No,
You were kind of already that was kind of
yeah,
already, even
I
from
mean,
like you training in your garage by yourself is what you're
yeah,
doing.
I've been telling people, I'm like, I've been social distancing for years. I don't know what you guys worry about. Like, I'm all good.
Yeah.
But
They're saying like introverts are like what else is there?
right, exactly.
So,
No, and I was telling this to one of my friends. I was like, I think this whole quarantine, at least for me, it's been a wake up call to slow things down,
hmm.
because you know as the year started, like I was saying, everyone's like, oh, it's about to go down, and they're all pushing themselves, and they're all, uh, going off,
Right.
going off, and they're all like pushing it to the maximum, everything like that. And LA, everything's so fast paced, so you have to keep up with it. And I think with this like whole lockdown, it was, like I said, it was a wake up call in a way where we can still take things slow. Like, it's okay to take things slow, and it may not feel great, but maybe it's what's necessary. You know what I mean? And I feel like for me, that was a big reason of me being like, you need to get up on to edit this film. Like, you need to edit this, you need to do this, and you don't need to keep, pushing your body in a way. Because I take classes where my hip was injured, and then I injure it more. And I think, I had a really bad hip injury. So like doing this, and even when I did have it, I was like, it's fine, like it'll heal, I'm fine. And obviously it didn't. So having this time too, I'm just like, this is really nice. Kind of doing a little yoga with my sisters, a lot of like breathing, maybe too much breathing sometimes. I don't know if we're taking the right classes, but yeah, and it's, like I said, it's been really nice. I'm like, yeah, it not only have I been really kind of doing this, but it's just been a real eye opener for me for it to tell me like there's so much more that you can do, and you don't want to feel like, you don't want this quarantine or lockdown, you don't want it to feel like it's taking advantage of you, because the moment that happens, then it's on you, where you you're not necessarily doing anything. Like I kind of learned the Rubik's Cube, so I feel great about that.
I love that what you said about what this time is doing is it's kind of forcing everybody to pause, and when things pause, you can see things much more clear because
Right,
we're in this kind of, a lot of people are on this like constant go mode. We're on a hit,
right,
just like going, and we're not even like realizing what's happening around us. And I think even for you, as you're saying that, this is giving you a time to kind of be like, okay, I already kind of have my routine down. I've been doing this forever.
right,
Now it's like, then now within this space, what do I really have time to do? And like, as you've been just going in on editing your film now, and it's awesome because you're now able to like really like laser focus on what do I really want to attack right now. And if I want to get up and dance, I'll go do that in the same way that I do. And
right.
then I really have this project finished. And so, you're kind of able to focus a little bit more.
Yeah, everything kind of starts to split into its own path whenever you slow things down. Because the moment you go so fast, at the moment, yes, it's great. But then once you take that hit out of nowhere, you're gonna it's gonna be even longer than this lockdown where you have to go to pause and you have no other option. But
Yeah.
with this lockdown, people make it feel like you don't have an option, but there are still options. You know what I mean? So it's like this is nice for it to be like you are slowing down, but you're not stopping. And I feel like that's kind of how I approach this whole lockdown thing. And I don't know. I mean, day by day, I'm waking up. I'm like, okay, it's not the greatest feeling, but at the same time, I'm like, it's not bad,
Yeah.
And that's only because I choose for it to not be bad.
I love that, and that's a lot of wisdom there. We all have a choice to look at everything in one way
Right,
or another, and it's all perspective. You know what I mean? You can look at it from a what sucks right now perspective, or what's awesome right now perspective. Because both of those things exist, man. So uh,
right,
that you're able to recognize that and be like, I have a choice to look at
yeah,
this whatever way I
right,
want. So after, I mean, we all know that this is gonna pass. This is a temporary weird blip in history right now, but it's going to pass. What do you look forward to most, as far as like when everything's like kind of like lifted and things are healthier and safer to be out? Like, what are some of the things that you're kind of looking forward to the most when like normalcy kind of hits again?
I don't even know. I I haven't really given that much. Like I know whenever I ask people like, "Hey, what are you gonna do when this is over?" and they're just like, "I'm gonna go here, this, and that." And um, it's weird that I've never really thought about that. Like, is that weird? Like
No.
because for me, like I feel like the moment I start thinking about what I want to do after this is over, it pulls me away from what I can be doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like I said, that's just me. Because for me, I'm like, if I'm thinking like, oh, once this is over, I'm gonna go to this friend's house, and I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna eat at Tender Greens and all this stuff, and I'm gonna go everywhere. Um, but then that gives me this like hope where I'm just like, I want to be doing that now,
Mm-hmm.
and then but I can't, so I'm like I'm here, and then that kind of pulls away from it being like what am I supposed to do now then? Like I can't go here, but I want to go here. So because I want to go there, but I can't, now I have to stay home and do something that I don't want to do because all I can keep thinking about is what I want to do when this is all over.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, if I had to think about it, I'd probably say just go back on track with what I was doing at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like start there, because I feel like once I start there and then I apply all the things that I've kind of discovered while I'm in this lockdown, then it'll transition nicely, rather than me being like, now that I've been singing this quarantine, I'm gonna make an album as soon as this is over. Like it's like that's too far. Or like so like for me, I'm like I'm gonna take advantage of this, improve, and always improve my dancing, obviously, improve my singing, improve my acting, and finish the editing, and from that point on, when things do get back on track, go back to what it was like before, and then maybe when the time comes and it feels right, I can be like, I'm ready, because I used my time in a way where like I'm ready to do what I've been training myself to do. Maybe we can start trying to go into, you know, more videos, or an original song. It's like, not saying that's gonna happen, but that's just kind of how my mindset will probably be when this is all over.
Yeah, I think that's also cool, man. It's you are taking day by day rather than looking at some sort of like horizon. And if I can only just get there, it's like, dude, I'm gonna get wherever I get by doing what I'm doing now. And it's kind of
Yeah,
appreciating the moment and kind of just enjoying what's in front of you now, man. I think that's
yeah.
the
I mean, and I'm not trying to say that you can't have like dreams and hopes of, seeing someone in the next few months or weeks, but you could also have like dreams and goals
hmm
where you're not limited to. You know what I mean? Like you could have a goal of creating a concert video by yourself at your home. You
right.
know, it's like I it like I said, I think people take it differently when it's like when I mean living in the moment, it doesn't necessarily mean like you have to do whatever you feel like at the moment, and you can only do that. You know, but because like you said, you're given options still in this lockdown. You can use that and not feel too restricted, where you can still do things and still set goals
Yeah.
outside of this, and it's still going to be okay. But you just can't set a goal that you can't do at the moment,
Yeah.
because that's when you actually feel restricted.
Yeah.
So
I love it. We want to do a lightning round with you.
oh,
Fire off some lightning bolt questions.
you got me on the lightning round last time. I was
What's
like,
that? What
I
is
said
that?
you got me on that lightning round
Oh
last
yeah,
time.
I
I was
love
like,
this. Is
oh
my favorite part, man. You gotta just be like, this is all off the cuff and first thought that comes to your head. It's important. Here we go. Three, two, one. What's your favorite food?
no. Uh, uh, yeah, chicken.
Last person you FaceTimed with?
Uh, Casey.
The last thing that you binged?
Uh, last thing that I binged. This was last night. Last thing that I binged. Yeah, this is more like thunder. Um, last thing that I binged.
It could be nothing if you don't binge things.
I mean, uh, uh, Friends? Yeah,
Friends,
it's Friends.
what is your quarantine guilty pleasure?
Popcorn. See, that was fast. That was too fast.
What is a content recommendation? Something that you've either been reading, watching, listening to that you would recommend?
Mm. Um, uh, uh, instrumental listening to meditating and instrumental listening to instrumental music throughout the day.
What is a must-have item for you when you're dancing?
This is gonna sound weird, but it's not like a must-have, but it's like something that I would prefer, and it's like baggy pants.
Hey, man, that's important. Clothes is important. Do you have a favorite brand, and if so, what is it?
Ooh, call me out on that. All right,
It
this
could be
stays
your
between
brand.
you. This stays between you and me. Uh, 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 Not Nike, and just because it's very versatile.
Nice. What's the last thing you ate?
Oh, you're gonna judge me. Cottage cheese. It's people are gonna make fun of me for that. I already feel it.
What?
But
I'm
good,
kidding.
it's like good source of protein and it's delicious with some blueberries. All right, go ahead.
Oh, no judgment here. Um, if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Mm. Uh, Teleport. So I don't have to get through this traffic when this thing's over.
Feel you. What is your superpower?
I my superpower. Apparently, it's not answering these questions very well. My superpower, I would say, uh, I don't know. I can never answer that kind of question. I feel like someone else would have to answer that for me because I feel like if I if I define my own superpower, then it wouldn't be a superpower because it's coming from like my ego instead of something that's actually genuine from like coming from someone else that actually witnesses it.
Oh, hey, maybe your superpower is ultimate humility, bro. That's very humble. Um, okay, I think we had you on the pod last time. We had your golden rule there. So for anybody's wondering, Sean's golden rule, go back to episode 38 or 39. It was one of those. But what is one thing coming out of this quarantine that you would hope to have either learned or grown in? Lightning round is now done. You can kind of like formulate this one. That you hope to come out of quarantine or out of this time having grown in.
I hope that I come out of this quarantine. I'm hoping that when I come out of this whole quarantine, I am more well aware of what my body is capable of, and my mind actually. With meaning that like when I go out and start to dance with other people and everything like that, I'm hoping that I'm more well aware that I'm like wow, my body is capable of actually continuing to, I don't know, put my leg up or still perfect the wave, or have my isolation just as good as the Kinjaz. Like
Ah,
I think for me it's a lot of like a mental and physical thing where, when you do something uncomfortable, your defense mechanism starts to kick in and you're just like I like you may be doing it, but you're not fully confident that you're like I'm able to do it. And I think for me, I'm still trying to find that like mental thing where it's like you are able to do it. And whenever I start dancing with other people or I'm in class or anything like that, it's like you're not just confined where you're always just doing all these little things, or you're like doing what you usually do. Like you can still do something that is pushed outside of what you usually do, but still has that thumbprint of who you are. you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that I'm coming out of this knowing how to do the Rubik's Cube without looking at the formulas, and also just being more mentally aware of what I'm actually capable of. So that way I'm not really having anything that's stopping me from being better.
Word. That's awesome, man. Cool.
Thank you.
We're gonna take some of these questions that flew in from the live.
Let's do it.
So shout out taking on these questions. The first one, this one comes from at Crystal Artinian. Where can we find the film?
I am still figuring that out. You know, the 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 location of where the film might end up at is still to be determined because I'm still editing it, and it's quite a doozy. I would call it a short film because most of the time I look at films that have like a connective story throughout, and this one does have a connective story and storyline, but it's more in like scenes rather than like all in one, because it's not necessarily like something that has dialogue in it. So I call it a short film or a passion project because one, it is quite longer than a regular video, and two, it's just there's been like literal blood, sweat, and tears put into this. So yeah, short film would be a better phrase.
You guys gotta stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned for that one. This one is from at JDBaby_22. What's your favorite?
Hey. What's my favorite what?
Your favorite color?
My favorite color. Yo, this is gonna make me sound so goth, but black.
Black?
I promise I'm not.
Always wearing black.
Yeah. That's it. I only say black because I always wear black.
Yeah,
So
I feel that. This one is from at Rice and Lou. Is there any other singer you would also like to collaborate with?
you know, I haven't. For me, not really looking at singing as like, oh, I want to do this full time. I've never really thought of like who I want to collaborate with, because I'm like, I prefer just listening to them than singing with them. But if I were to collaborate with someone singing wise, I'd probably say Tate, because we've done it before, and she's one of my closest friends, and she actually just came out with a new song, which is really good. And I just enjoy creating with her because of her energy and her, attitude towards things, and I think it'd be cool.
Sick. This one comes from at Sean Lou Popcorn.
Hey,
can we
great
expect
username.
covers?
Sorry?
Can we expect more covers? I'm assuming dance.
For all these singing
covers, dance covers, however you want to describe.
Oh, haha, twisting. I know they make sing covers. We're twisting the dance covers. I don't know. I always say don't expect anything from me, because the moment you expect something from me, then your expectations get too high, and I don't like when I disappoint people. So never expect anything from me, and just when something comes out, just go with the flow like I do, and enjoy the present.
I dig it. This one is from at _Cami20_. What happened to your hip?
Oh, I just overworked it, and I just kept overusing it, and like if this was like the hip socket or something, and this was my hip, it it always like unlocks in a way in the morning, and then it creates a space, and I would always like my hip joint would always rub against like my like whatever this bone is, and it create like bumps, and it was starting to get inflamed, and I kept overusing it, and it's still at the like injury state, but at the same time it's also like I'm just taking it easy.
Gotcha.
Like stretching hurts, but I'm still stretching, which I don't know if I should be doing, but I'm doing it. So yeah, I mean it's just overusing it, and it's just telling me that I need to take a break with it.
Gotcha. This one comes from Arnel Calvario.
Hey!
You had to name 3 people you would want to engage in conversation with during this quarantine. Who would they be? Ooh. 3 people who you'd want to have a conversation with.
like dancer-wise?
Anybody, I guess.
We'll go with dancers because it's just like an easier. Like if we were not people, I'd be like the person who pissed off 2020 and like this whole like we'll give this whole situation. But like for like dancers wise, I'd probably say like Keone, Cassandra, and Philip should be, yeah. And I say those three because like I feel like they all have like a similar mindset of how they handle this quarantine, but at the same time they all have a different approach with how they look into their work. And I feel like I don't know, talking to them. I mean, I talk to Cassandra sometimes, because she's like one of my favorite people in the world. And also I'm at another person, Talia Favia, and I love those four because, and I want to talk to them because I just feel like the way that they seek obstacles like these, it'll be really inspiring for me to like understand whenever I'm just dancing or whenever I'm just connecting with other people. I just feel like their approach with that is so unique and different from other people and also super passionate in a way. I feel like a lot of people, when they talk about certain things or talk about their lifestyle, they usually just say because they have to. But I feel like every time they speak, every time Sandra, Talia, Philip, or Keone talk, they're genuinely passionate about it, which makes you super inspired from it. So, yeah. Sorry, long answers.
Those conversations. For the sake of time, I think that was going to have to be our last question. Sean, thank you so much for tuning in and hopping into this with us, man. And congratulations on an amazing year. And I can't wait to see, and I'm sure all of us can't wait to see this new film that you're working on and everything else that's brewing over there in your realm. But appreciate, just the insight and even just the encouragement to all of us out here, everyone doing their own thing in their own spaces to keep moving, man.
Dude, thanks so much for having me.
Of course, bro.
I appreciate you.
Follow your journey if they're not already following you, which is crazy, but where can they see what's going down in your world?
I appreciate you taking in all these long answers.
Love it, man.
Dude, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I could do this all day, so thank you for having me.
Right on, man. Plug your IG and Loser clothing. We got 45 left in this thing.
Oh my god. Yeah, if you want to follow me, go follow me. If you really want to follow me, you'll find out what my Instagram is. If you don't have the energy to do it, don't worry about it. And this is a sweat. And losers, LEWSER, we're all losers, but in the best way possible. And and also a new video is coming out tomorrow on my channel. And it's actually one of the most important things I've ever done so far. So be on the lookout for that. Totally forgot that, but I'm literally editing it. I literally was editing it before this happened. So, don't forget to look out for that. And yeah.
Sick. Thank you, man. Guys, thank you guys for tuning in for the live pod. This episode, we're actually going to change our drop date. This is going to be coming out Friday of this week. We're actually going to push it back. Things are happening, but if you guys are digging it, just share it. Tag us, screenshot your phone, hop on your podcast app, leave us a 5-star rating, leave us a review. And yeah, we're going to get through this time together. Talks like this are so important, so we thank you guys for tuning in.
Hey.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you again, Sean.
We got this, guys.
Got this, y'all. All right.
We're fighters.
This thing's about to cap out in 20 seconds, so we got to make sure. Oh, this will be live. This is going to be saved to the Kinjaz IG live.
All right. Thanks,
Thank you, guys. Peace out.
Stay safe. Adios.
Yeah.